Hi, good day. Welcome to your subject Bridging Mathematics, Math 1 to 2. Okay, so this is our course syllabus for this subject, and this will serve as your introduction also. Okay, so by the way, if you will try to look at your checklist, okay, your curriculum checklist that you are following, if you are civil engineering, if you are computer engineering, if you are electronics engineering, you have these checklist that you are following, wherein you will be basing the subjects that you will be enrolling, okay, on that document. And if you try to look at the checklist, you do not have there, you cannot see their math 1 to 2. Why? Because actually this is not a part of the program. This is only offered because according to the CHED memorandum that since we can accept enrollees of different strand except from STEM, because of course STEM is intended for engineering and technology. But if you came from different strand, then you need to take this mathematics, because these are the mathematics subject that is that is a part of the STEM strand. So if you are not from STEM, then you need to take this one before starting on the mathematics of engineering. Okay, since in engineering we will already be starting directly into calculus. So this subject actually on the old curriculum, this consists of four subjects. The algebra, college algebra, which is actually algebra 1, algebra 2. So there are two subjects in algebra. The spherical, plane and spherical trigonometry, or the trigonometry, and then the analytic geometry, and then this solid mensuration. So what are these? Okay, your algebra is dealing with equations, and it playing around with equations, solving values from equations. Trigonometry, we are talking about here topics relating to triangles, trigonometry. Analytic geometry, we are talking here of graphs. Okay, if you are trying to plot graphs, lines, curves, like circles, parabola, and so on and so forth. And then in solid mensuration, this is now computation of quantities like distances, areas, volumes, surface area, and so on and so forth. Okay, so these are the four mathematics, the basic mathematics that you should undergo before you will start your calculus. Which is, if you did not came from STEM, then you did not took these four mathematics. That's why we are offering this bridging mathematics, which we try to shrink these four subjects into one, which is what we call now as your bridging mathematics. Okay, so again, this subject only is for those who did not came from STEM strand from their senior high school. Okay, so these are the other informations, but okay, important here is your course description. So this course provides engineering students the knowledge in algebra, that's what I'm saying a while ago, trigonometry, analytic geometry, and solid mensuration to be used in the derivation of various formulas and vital in the solution of numerous engineering problems. Okay, so what you will expect since you will be enrolling engineering, okay, doesn't matter what field of engineering, okay, this will be general. You will be needing to derive formulas, you will be playing equations, and you will be dealing here with figures, triangles, and so on and so forth. That's why it is very, very important for you to know topics of these subjects: algebra, trigonometric, analytic geometry, and solid mensuration. Okay, so that is your course description. That is the description of our subject. So all in all, we have here your contact hours, which is 7.5 hours per term. This is what we will be satisfying. We will make use of the 71.5 hours to finish all of this. We will try to shrink all of this within these 71.5 hours. And the design of our offering this term is that we will be having 2 meetings per week, and then 5.33 hours per meeting. So that's why you have here MTH, TF, WSAT in your offering, or if you have their different, but it doesn't matter as long as you will complete the 71.5 within the entire term. Okay, so since if this is your offering, if this is your schedule, 2 meetings per week, and you have there 5.33 hours per meeting, or 5 and 1/3 hours, then we will be completing this one for a total of 7.5 weeks. Okay, 7.5 weeks. By the way, the units here to be credited in your course is 4 unit lecture. This is equivalent to 4 unit lecture. So do we have the requisite? If you say requisite, by the way, a subject that needs to be taken at the same time with this, but actually this subject will be enrolled alone, so there is no prerequisite, and prerequisite means that if there are subjects that you need to finish before taking this one, but since this is the first mathematics that you will take, then there is no prerequisite. Okay. So we have here your vision and mission of our university. Okay, I will not be discussing this one because it will take much of our time. So you can just read that one. By the way, I uploaded already this file. So please try to download and then read this one. Okay. So we have here your mission and vision of our university. We have here also the UC graduate attributes. What are the characteristics, or attributes of the professionals that will be graduating in our university. Okay, we have here also our college mission. This is the mission of our engineering college, engineering and architecture college. Okay, so you can read that also. And we have here your program educational objectives. This is your PEO. If you say objectives, these are the targets of our program. If you are enrolling the BSCE, this is the target of your courses. But since I am under the Department of Civil Engineering, so this is our program educational objectives. But if you are on the electronics, then actually there is just a slight difference here, but this is almost general. Okay. So student outcomes. So this is again what is expected to you as a student in finishing this program. Okay, you will finish your program civil engineering or other engineering programs. So these are your outcomes. These are the expected outcomes that you will be showing us if you will graduate your program. Okay, you can read that one. We have here your course learning outcomes. So we have a lot of outcomes, but it is now from general to specific. So general, what is the outcome of your as a student if you will finish the program? Then you will be having here also another outcomes wherein it is just reflecting only on the course itself, and you will be having here also an outcome which is just also reflecting what you need to be showing us if you will finish the subject. So outcome as a program in your engineering program, outcome in your subject, and then outcome in your topics. Okay, so we have here your course learning outcome. So these are your course learning outcome. This is important. Okay, this is for our course Bridging Mathematics. So we have here your course learning outcome CLO1. Apply methods of solving linear and quadratic equations to any algebraic problem. So we will be trying to reach this one, or we will try to catch this outcome if we will try to discuss your algebra subject. Okay, algebraic topics. And we have here your CLO2, understand trigonometric functions to prove and derive trigonometric identities. This is in your trigonometric subject. Have a working knowledge of the basic concepts of the Cartesian plane. So that is in your analytic geometry, plotting points, drawing the curves or equations. Apply the concept of geometric conditions in solving equations of lines and second-degree curves. This is also combination of your algebra and your analytic geometry. And then lastly, our last course learning outcome is to compute perimeter and the area of plane figures and surface and volume of solid. Okay, so that is from your solid mensuration. Okay, so that is what you should. Okay, that is what you should be able to show us for us to say that okay, you satisfy the outcome, then you are now ready. It means that you passed the subject. You are now ready to proceed. Okay, so this is the basis of your grading. If you pass or if you fail, you should satisfy these 5 learning outcomes within the subject, the CLO 1 to CLO 5. Okay, so as you can see here. So this is now our topics. This is now the outline of our topic. So this is our course content. By the way, this is your first. Yes, this should be your first. This is your first term in our university. Before we had 3 examination. Okay, prelim, midterm, and finals. But now we cut it only into 2, midterms and finals only. So it means we will be dividing the topics into the first half and the first, which is the midterm, and then for the remaining half into the finals. Okay, so those are the 2 grading divisions, the midterms and finals. So this is our topics that we will be discussing in your midterm. We will try to shrink all the topics of algebra and trigonometry that we can discuss. Okay. So if ever that we have important topics here that we cannot accommodate in midterms, because of course we cannot say that we can take all of this. It depends on situations. Okay, depends of course on the meetings that we have. Maybe there will be some topics here that will be moved to the finals, or maybe there will be some topics here that you will just be assigned to read, since we do not have much time. But of course, all in all, this should be shrink to your midterms, algebra and trigonometric topics. For in algebra, actually most of this, since you have already your algebra in your 3rd or 4th year high school, I guess 3rd year, 4th year, as long as in your first 4 years of high school, you have there your algebra and trigonometric subjects. Okay, so and geometry subjects. Okay, so maybe this will be a recall, and there are other topics which will be a little bit advanced. So it will just be only be discussed. We will just be discussing right now in this subject. Okay, so under your algebra, we will be trying to recall, because I know that this is already discussed, or this is already taught to you in your high school. Okay, your integers and index laws. Okay, this is the first thing that we should know. We will try to recall again your integers. Okay, these positive and negative numbers, and then index laws. Okay, what are the exponent laws, and so on and so forth. And then operation on polynomials. Okay, what is if you say polynomials, by the way, you will be talking here with equations. We will be adding equations, subtracting equations, multiplying equations, dividing equations. Okay, and then C, solutions on linear equations. We will be focusing there on the solving of values of x and y. Let's say you are using x and y in your equation. On a linear equation, if you say linear, there is no exponent, only x, y. And then we will be discussing, this is important, factoring. And then we will move on to quadratic. If you say quadratic, that will now be a 2nd degree, wherein you will have there now a squared, x squared or y squared. And then, of course, application. We will be trying, by the way, the application is problem solving, of course, just like before. We will be having an actual problem. Okay, you will convert that one into equation. Making use of the algebraic equation that we formulated, we will solve this unknown on the actual problem. Okay, so that is actually the important part here. You know how to solve x and y, but you should know how to apply that solving of x and y into actual problems. Okay, so that is the very, very important application of algebra. Trigonometry. Okay, types of triangle, we will be again recalling. Actually, this is a recall because you have this in your high school. What are the types of your triangle? And then we will now focus a little bit on the much of our time on on your right triangle, because that is where we will be having your trigonometric functions. Wherein your trigonometric function sine, cosine, tangent, which is also introduced in your high school. Okay, so we will be having your solutions on triangles, and we will be dealing these types of triangles, how we will solve parts, and then parts of these triangles. So you will have here the types of triangles, and you will be discussing, this is important, the sine and cosine law. And then of course problem solvings. If you say problem solvings, we will now be again applying the concept of trigonometry on the actual problems. So again, you have the rewarded problem, transfer that one into trigonometric equation, we will be solving using a trigonometric solve for the unknown of the actual problem. Okay, and then if we can reach this one, since this is important, this is what you will be needing in your calculus, the identities. Okay, if you say identities, this is just equations of sine, cosine, and tangent, which are mixed together, relationship of sine, cosine, and tangents. Okay, those are your identities. So you have here your topic learning outcomes. It means that once you will finish all of these, you should be able to perform all these outcomes. Solve unknowns and linear and so on and so forth. You can read that one, okay? So you should satisfy this one by the time that we will finish discussing your algebra and trigonometric topics. Okay? And once that is done, then we are now ready for our midterm exam. This is your first grading. In this subject, okay? Midterm exam. That is where we will be basing your first grade. And then once that is done, we will now proceed to your finals. We will be tackling the half of the topics. So we are done with trigo algebra. We will now proceed to your analytic geometry and solid mensuration. So here are the topics. In analytic geometry, we will be having here your rectangular and polar coordinates. Okay, we will now be dealing with x and y coordinate, or we will be using region and angles. So rectangular coordinates, we will focus on that. Inclination, this is important. What is inclination? That is your slope. And then lines, we will now be focusing much on the property of lines. And then second degree curves, these are now your circle, hyperbola, ellipse, or parabola. Okay, sorry, that should be parabola. Okay, let me just change that one. Parabola. Okay, so that is your parabola. And then, of course, once we are done with analytic geometry, we will be going with your solid mensuration. Now we will be dealing with perimeter and areas of plane figures. If you say plane figures, these are just flat surfaces. If there are just lines there or closed figure, we will be dealing with the perimeter, or we will be solving the area bounded by the figure. Now we will be dealing with three-dimensional, or if you say 3D, this is what we call a 3D. The three-dimensional objects, we will now be having their areas, bounding areas, and then we will be solving the volume of the solids. Okay, so that is the topic that we should be finishing in your analytic and solid mensuration. Okay, so once that is all done, also you should be able to perform or to show us these outcomes here below. On top, these are your outcomes after your trigonometry and algebra, and once you will finish also your analytic and solid mensuration, you should be able to show us these course or topic learning outcomes. Okay, so by the way, we have here your columns, number of meetings, that is just the division of meetings. Teaching learning activities, what are we trying to do here? We will try, of course, I will be discussing, we will be having a lecture. And since this is online class, all the lectures will be online. There is no face-to-face lecture. Okay, so it's either synchronous or asynchronous. If you say synchronous, that will be a live meeting. I will be setting a platform and you will just be entering there just like a classroom, but only this is online. Okay, if we do not have much time for that, since maybe we are now limited of time, and instead of having synchronous meeting, I will be only recording myself, just like this one. I am recording myself and I will be uploading it for you to view or to watch, and that is what we call the asynchronous. So if ever you have a question in this discussion, what you're going to do is comment below the post so that I can address that one. If I can just answer it by commenting, or if you cannot just answer that by comments, then we will be having that conversation or discussion of your question on the next meeting, wherein we will be having synchronous meeting. Okay, so of course there will always be an examples. And then how am I going to grade you? Okay, we will be having quizzes, sit works, bird work, or since we are not here face to face, we will not be having board work. Instead, we will be having assignments and sit works. Okay, quiz, assignment, sit works, and of course your exam. So that's the same in your finals: quiz, assignment, sit works, and then exam. That is how I will grade you. For us, question is, how will you grade us? That is, what is the basis of our grading? Of course, that will be based in your topic learning outcomes. If you will be able to show us your outcome, these outcomes, then it means that you are ready or you understand something on the discussion. Okay, so that is how we will grade you based on your outcomes, topic learning outcomes. Okay, so that is for our topics. This is the outline of our topics. Now you have here your CO assessment task. So again, that is just how we will assess you, how we will assess, how we will try to grade you based on the course learning outcomes. This is the one using quiz or sheet work, and of course at the same exam. Okay, so I already explained that one here. This is just the tabulation. Okay, so by the way, it says there that at least 80% of the student, so that is our target, at least 80% of the student will be able to show us the passing score, wherein that is your 60%. By the way, our passing score is 60%. You can see it here. This is your computation of scores or your grades. So in every activity, our target supposed to be is to have a 60% and above. That means that is your passing score. Okay? And in every activity, it could be exam, quiz, or sheet work. Your passing should be 60. So now the question, how are we going to compute your grade? Okay, this is how we will compute your grade. Since we have only two grading divisions, the midterms and finals. Okay, for your grade of midterms, this is how we will compute. This is how I will compute. Okay, this is for me. For the other instructor, it depends if this is what they will follow or they will focus on something. Okay, so this is for me, 50-50. Okay, 50% from your class standing. If you say class standing, we will be having recitation, we will be having assignment, and we will be having sheet works and quizzes. These are your class standing. Okay, 50% of your grade for midterm will come from these activities. And for the rest 50%, it will be coming from your midterm exam. Okay, so that is how important your midterm exam, because actually midterm exam is just like a combination of all the activities, isn't it? This is now the final rating if you really understood or not the topics within the whole midterms. Okay, so 50%, I will try to summate all your quizzes, sheet works, recitation if there is, assignments, summate all of this, get the 50% of that. You should have 60, it means that you will pass your class standing. And then the rest of the 50%, I will get that one from your midterm exam. Whatever score you have, which you should have a passing score of 60%, so that there is no problem. And then I will combine this 50% of class standing and 50% of the midterm exam, combine that one, that will now be a score, okay? But that is not as is, that this score is as your grade. No, in University of the Cordilleras, we have a transmutation of grade. Let's say your score, combination of all your score is 50, doesn't mean that your grade is 50. Because our grading here is that the failed, or the if you say failed, that is having a score of less than 60%. So as I've said a while ago, your passing score is 60%. So if you have there 60, if you get there a 60, let's say flat 60, that means you already passed. You already passed. That is 75. So that is transmutation. Let's say somewhere 80, you get a score of 80, that means that is not your grade. Maybe that is a little bit higher, 81 or 82 in your grade. So there is a transmutation. Okay, it is not the score as is as your grade. Okay, how about on finals? The same. I will get the grade. I will get the summation of your class standing, get a 50% and get a 50% in your final exam. The same, combine, and that will be transmuted into a grade. Now the question, since you only need a single grade that will decide if you will pass or fail, that is your final grade. Okay, that is your final grade. These are your raw, midterm, and raw final. It means if you say raw, that is your performance on the midterms only, or that is your performance on the finals only. Okay, so we will try to combine this one into a single score that is your final score, wherein get the half of midterms, get the half of your finals. Okay, not the grade, on the score. Get the half, 50% of the midterm score, get the 50% of the final score, and then combine this one. This is your final score that will decide if you will pass or fail. Again, the target here is you should have at least 60%, 60 60% of the score so that you will pass the subject. Okay, so that is my way of computing your grade. Okay, it says there, this is your transmutation that I am explaining a while ago. Scores are transmuted into an equivalent grade. So your score is not your grade. It will be converted into a grade. But actually here, the important here is your score. Do not just look at the grade. Grade is just grade. It will just say if you will pass or not. But the point here is that you should target always the 60% because that 60% score, because that is your basis. If you get 60% and above in all your activities, then there is no worry. Automatically you will pass. Okay. So that is your grading system, computation of scores and grades. Okay, so this is our references. These are your textbook. By the way, if you we are in face-to-face, you will be reading all of these. Okay, this is your algebra, college algebra by Hart, William Hart. You have there in your textbook. You have here your trigonometry by Ryder. Okay, plane and spherical trigonometry by Ryder, and you have here your analytic geometry by Love and Rainville. Okay, Love and Rainville, our author. And you have here your solid mensuration by Kern and Bland. However, since actually we are not on face-to-face, so if you cannot go outside and buy, but actually I do not suggest for you to buy this one. But if you have, why not? If you can buy, why not? But if cannot, you do not need to buy this one. Doesn't matter. Okay, this is just for the additional reference. If you want to practice more problems, then you can make use of this. But actually, since we are online, why not just search? Okay, you can just search there examples or activities on your internet, and then you can have their algebra, trigon, and so on and so forth. Okay, you can go to matalino.com. That is a commonly used website for mathematics. Matalino.com. Okay, so again, if you can buy, why not? Better. Okay, so that you can open and then you can learn from it also. Okay, as your reference. Okay, so these are the other policies, attendance. But actually, since this is online, I'm not that very strict for you attending this. For you to attend and be satisfying 20%. But if this is face to face, before, if you incur the 20% absences for the total number of meetings, then you are considered dropped. But again, this is online. I'm not that strict to that. Okay, what matters is that if I will be setting a live discussion or synchronous discussion, as much as possible, please join. Okay, if you have connection, if you are available at that time, please join. Okay, because that is good if you can join, because if you have a question right away, I can answer that one right away and we can have a discussion. Okay, so by the way, we will be using here our official platform, by the way, is Canvas Instructor, but since some of the subject are still to be finalized, then for the meantime we will be using Facebook. But if it is already available on the Canvas, if your Canvas is already given to you and that's already ready, then we can go there, we can transfer there. This because that is the formal, or that is our final platform. Okay, so every activity will be given there in your Canvas. Quizzes, assignments, exams in your Canvas. Okay, in that Canvas, you have there the feature of live discussion. Okay, conference, but based on our experience before, using that the conference can require at least a strong connection, and I'm not that sure that you have all of you have a strong connection. Some of you are actually just using data. Okay, so what I am using for live discussion is your Zoom. That is free, don't worry, that is free, but we are only limited to 40 minutes. Okay, we are only limited to 40 minutes. In every discussion, we are limited to 40 minutes. So let's say we will be using that 40 minutes and that is not enough. We will still be discussing some of the topics we are not yet finished within that 40 minutes. Then don't worry, if that will end, we can just go back again to the another 40 minutes. Okay, so that is only free. That's why we have here limitation of 40 minutes. Okay, so that we will be using Zoom. So please download Zoom. Okay, as in ZOOM, that application. You can have that one in your phone. You can have that one in your PC. Okay. So that's it. Download the Zoom. That is how we will be having synchronous discussion. I will be uploading a link. All you need to do is click the link and then write down your name for you to register in our meeting. Okay, that is how we'll be having. So again, attendance, I will not be strict to that. But if I can see that you will not, you have connections, or I can see that you are active online, but you are not joining our meeting, then something's wrong. Okay, maybe we need to talk about that. So again, as much as possible, this is in your advantage. This is in your advantage. If you have a good connection, try to maximize that one, because actually, again, based on this previous online class that we had, some of the students are actually struggling to have this internet connection, while the others are already have those good connection, but they are not maximizing that one. Okay. While those who do not have that privilege of the strong connection, they are trying their best. Okay, so again, that is for us, reference for us. So if you have a good connection, try to maximize this one. Okay, we are not actually praying for this to continue this situation, but of course, we will not take. You should not take advantage of this situation. Okay, so assignment. Okay, so assignments and other coursework due to beginning. Okay, you can read that one. And then language of instruction. Of course, we will be speaking English, but maybe sometimes we can speak Tagalog or our vernacular. But of course, I will be considering, of course, all your languages. If we have here a foreigner in our class, then we should speak English, so that just like we will be including them also in our discussions. Okay, consultation, of course, consultation, you can always consult. This is online, so but of course, you will not expect that once you will ask something, I will answer that one right away, because of course also I have other works, I have other subjects. Okay, and maybe I need break times. So if you have a concern, I can maybe address that one. Okay, maybe not right away, but at least I will address that one as much as possible. Okay. Okay, so that's it. By the way, I am engineer Melchizedek Angluan. I am a civil engineer. Okay, so I am the one teaching this right now. Some section are actually handled by other instructors. Okay, but I am your instructor for this section, for this subject. I am engineer Melchizedek L. Angluan. Okay, I am a civil engineer. So I am in the civil engineering department. Okay, so we have here your program chair. Okay, we have here our program chair for civil engineering and sanitary, Engineer Alma A. Aguilar, Ma'am Alma. Okay, and we have here our OIC Dean. Okay, Engineer Nelson J. Notarty, and you have there, of course, your chief librarian. You should know this one if you have face-to-face, but this is online. And our VPAA, Vice President for Academic Affairs. Okay, Dr. Ariel Nimu B. Pomecha, and our chief librarian, Miss Beverly Chapcha. Okay, so that is for the introduction of this subject. So thank you very much. Please watch this one and open your file course syllabus so that you can see. Okay, after this, I will be uploading your first topic, okay, which we will now be starting on your recall of integers in index law, and then operation on polynomials. Okay, algebra, we'll start on your algebra. Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you very much for watching.